And by the way, they call their movement pro-choice, right? They call it pro-choice. There is no choice involved. They do not want. Remember when they had that women's march, the women's march, I guess it was in January, they banned women who were pro-life from sponsoring the march. And Katha Pollitt, who is well, never mind. Katha Pollitt, who writes for the liberal Journal of the Nation, then wrote an article, Can Feminists Be Pro-Choice? Are feminists? And she says, well, she can be anti-abortion for herself, and many pro-choice women are, but rights and personal ethics are not the same. I don't see how restricting and criminalizing abortion, bullying women on their way into the clinic, and pushing lies that abortion will give you breast cancer, make you infertile, or lead to a life's worth of misery are compatible with respecting other women's rights to make their own moral decisions in an area where people... She left out one thing. All that stuff may be untrue, but she left out the true one, the one where it's killing babies. That's the problem. The problem is not... It's always about... They're always telling you about women's, what do they call it? Reproduction rights. Women's. You notice they never use the words. They never use the words. It's like they never say. They don't even say abortion really anymore. And this is feminism in a nutshell. By the way, feminism. There's that woman Anita Sarkeesian who is always yelling about girls in video games or sexist objects and all this stuff, and they better be, because otherwise I'm not playing. But she basically tweeted out, feminism is about the collective liberation of women as a social class. It's not about personal choice. You don't have a personal choice to stay home. There was a woman, Australia, New Zealand, I can't remember, a feminist in Australia, I think it was, who said women should not be allowed to stay home and be homemakers. And this, by the way, this was from the very beginning, Simone de Beauvoir, who wrote one of the most famous initial original feminist tracts. I think it was called The Second Sex. She said the same thing. Women should not be allowed to be homemakers because too many of them will choose that. That's why. It's not, none of this is about choice. It's all about silence. So that's silence on the one side, and the other side is crisis, okay? Everything has to be a crisis. I'm going to talk about this. Come on over. We got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. I forgot to say it's the mailbag today.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to talk about the mailbag. If you don't come over to thedailywire.com to hear the rest of the show, you cannot hear the mailbag, in which all your problems will be solved. How could you miss that? If you subscribe, you can ask your own personal questions for a lousy $8 a month.